All right. I didn't think we could go live on Revelation Life, but it looks like we can. Maybe it's because the other channel is linked under here. It used to be only had to have 1,000 membership. Anyway, good morning, everybody. I know I don't have anybody in here right now, which is fine. I just wanted to record this. Um, want to talk about something, and it's called hard choices. Is what I'm going to talk about. Oh, I do have somebody in here. Who's in here? I don't know how you, because I didn't. Revelation Life. Usually we can't have it on a live feed, but I guess we do. Um, Anyway, I'm going to do hard choices, which we're going to talk about. I'm going to read a scripture to you, and the scripture is as follows. It says, and this is from Luke 17:28 through 31 and 33 through 35. And then I'm going to get into the subject. I don't know who's in here, but I hope you enjoy, or the Lord blesses you. It was the same in the days of Lot. People were eating and drinking, buying and selling, planning and building. But the day Lot left Sodom, fire and sulfur rained down from heaven and destroyed them all. It will be just like this on the day the Son of Man is revealed. On that day, no one who is on the housetop with possessions inside should go down to get them. Likewise, no one in the field should go back for anything. Whoever tries to keep their life will lose it, and whoever loses their life will preserve it. I tell you, on that night, two people will be in one bed. One will be taken and the other left. Two women will be grain together. One will be taken and the other left. The reason I want to talk about this real quick, and I've got to go to bed. I've just got off work. Literally, I'm working from home. Um, there's been some events that have happened over the past. Well, since the whole virus has been announced, I've had a couple of different friends, actually several different friends, and what I'm gonna call it is hard choices. Hard choices because I know we love certain people in our life. I know we have concerns about people in our life. I know we're tied to things in this life. But in the future, probably the very near future, we're going to have some very hard choices we got to make in this life. And those choices are going to be sometimes people who are in our lives who maybe have not lined up with the word of God, who may or may not be Christian, may not walk in the faith. If God comes and he, how can I put this? He comes for you. Are you going to run back to try to get your son, your daughter, your husband, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, a family member? The problem is sometimes we have to make hard choices. And in those hard choices, we sometimes have to choose God over people. And people that may be very dear to us, that we love, who didn't walk in the faith, or who had a lukewarm walk, or had a cold walk with the Lord. And therefore, when God comes for you, are you going to be so tired that you're going to try to go back and get Johnny? Are you going to be tied to materialistic things that you got to go get your this, that, or the other thing? Or are we going to be focused on where we're going? Everybody is going to have an opportunity to receive them, but it's up to them whether they choose to go. Right now, I'm looking in this world situation that we're in, and I've got some friends of mine, a couple different ones, who, to me, and even a family member, have not made the wisest choices. Okay. I'm going to give some examples, and I love y'all, but I think these examples need to help some people. I believe also this is maybe one of the issues why we see so many African Americans and maybe minorities dying at a higher percentage from COVID than others. Some is out of some economic reasons, I get that, but others is out of choices, hard choices. I'm gonna bring down real world events, and then I want you to take it to a spiritual mindset. Okay. Couple different friends. I got one friend of mine, brother comes to his house every day. They sit down and have coffee. They live in two different homes. The experts have told us about social distancing, has told us basically that the people that live in that home should be the only people occupying and coming in and out of that home. And we should try as least as possible to be out in the open right now until they get this thing under control. Love him, but that friend has people in that house over 60 years old and some with some very serious underlying health issues. Has nephews and all these other people. We got to start walking in wisdom. I have another friend of mine. She has, and God bless her, has a young daughter who is newly pregnant, and they had a family member that died. Weren't really sure what he died of, but all the family member the family members were upset. Well, were upset. She leaves out of the protection of the home that God has provided her, goes into what may be a COVID situation, doesn't know what the person died of, and now you got to go back in the house where you got several other children and a daughter who's now pregnant with your grandchild that may become at risk because you go on to deal with family. Hard choices, hard choices. And communicated with me back and forth, this person's upset, this person's crying, this okay, I'm get to it, y'all. Hard choices. The next one happened to be a recent one, a friend of mine as well. She has two boys in her house. She's divorced from their father. The first problem is the grandfather comes on a plane here to the state of Arizona. He flies during this crisis. This is all African Americans. Nobody's of any other nationality. Well, no, one of them is Latino. The other two are African American. He flies on a plane here to Arizona. Goes stays with her ex-husband. It is the grandfather of her children. They show up at her house. Was the day before yesterday or whatever. Now the father is the father of the children, who came with his father, his father, the boy's grandfather. He's now in the hospital with pneumonia. Told them upon entering the house, the boys, that he had a fever. African American. Father just got off a plane like a week or so back. People, hard choices. Hard choices. And I even have a relative of mine who her in-laws, she usually babysits for them. Love you, you know I do. But I'm speaking truth to situations because I believe this is part of why we got 70% of our people dying behind this stuff in different parts of the country. Because we allowing, I hate to say, foolishness instead of tough love, okay? Into our homes because we don't want to either hurt somebody's feelings or just say no and focus on what we need to focus on, okay? Hard choices. One of her in-laws brings one of the children by during this time right now and just drops them off at their door. Do they have a key to your house? No, okay, then no, you can't come and I'm not opening the door and you need to go on and find something else to do. It's not that we're being mean, people, we're being realistic. This is an invisible virus that's going around right now, an invisible disease. You can't see it. You don't know. There's no indicator. Some people could be sick and have symptoms, and other people could be asymptomatic, have no symptoms, be carriers, and still spread this disease. You can't go play with Johnny. No. And Grandpa can't come over. No. Especially that he just got off a plane flying from a whole nother state. He can't come in, and neither can you. You've got children who have underlying health diseases, asthma. You have an underlying health disease, heart issues. You have another son who just got through pneumonia and may have actually been infected with COVID, but they didn't have enough tests to test him, but he's young enough, he survived it, he's doing better, and he's done his 14 days. We don't want to introduce stuff into our house that don't have to be there if we can avoid it. We go back to Moses, mark the doorpost with the blood on it so that the death angel passes over and get your butt in your house and stay there. Didn't say while the death angel is going out, you can go out there and do all this and have people going back and forth. Didn't say that. There's a reason why we put blood on the doorpost and stay inside and only venture out at certain times. We have to walk in wisdom and some tough love. So my question is going to be, when the Lord gets ready to come for you, are you going to be so weak-minded that you can't stand up and say no to extended family and friends and loved ones, and instead be stuck here during the madness because you're coming back to deal with folk. Lot's wife, when they were exiting, she's still too tied to stuff. So she turned around to see, pillar of salt. Why? God is rescuing you. Why are you tied to sin, sickness, disease, death, and ignorance? And folks who are so self-centered on their own self, they can't think above themselves to think about you, to think what they're risking for you because they want to do what they want to do. Walk in wisdom. Walk in some tough love sometimes. And tough love means I can love you, but I'm not going to be caught up in your foolishness. And I'm not going to let you bring it to my doorstep. And I'm not going to risk the things inside of my home because of this. Guys, I want you to think of that here, but I also want you to think of it going there. If we would walk in that strength and that wisdom and get our minds prepared, how can I put this? When he comes for us, I'm not going to be worried about mama. I pray mama would have got her stuff right, but if she didn't, I got to go because he should be my first love. He should be my first choice. God should be above it all, even though some of those in your household. I'm sorry. We're going to have to make a choice. The Bible tells you that when a man finds a wife, he'll leave his mother, his father, all that for this new family. We are the bride of Christ. When we found him, that means we're going to make some hard choices and we're going to have to leave some folks in our family and friendships behind who did not make those same choices. While you may love them, it is not self centered. Every man is given an opportunity. And I say man, meaning male man or female man, kind, is given an opportunity to receive them. If they choose not to, they choose not to. Everybody has been given. It's public knowledge. You can find this is a wealth of information on this internet. You can go to the government and see what is the rules and what their ideas and what the best course of action are. But if we choose to ignore it, we choose not to take it seriously. Don't call me and involve me in your non-serious foolishness. That makes no sense. Instead, what I strongly suggest you do, what I strongly suggest you do is let that person stay in their foolishness. They'll learn their lessons or they'll just keep on down their foolish road. And you keep your mind on the prize and what's the best thing for your home. I had a very good friend of mine. I don't want to say a good friend. I call her like a play sis, and we have building a friendship. And she stayed here and visited, and then shortly thereafter she left. And like I don't know, it was a couple of months afterwards. Now all of a sudden this announcement comes out. She's a truck driver over the road. She says, "Oh, I got so and so on the truck, her boyfriend and the dog, and we're gonna come to Arizona and see you." No, no, you're not. I have enough self love because I had to quarantine because one of the buildings I was in, one of the buildings on the campus that I frequent, somebody had tested positive in the building, not the building I was in, but in another building. They had to notify us that they were closing down this business, that nobody would have access to it, and that basically gave me the heads up. I need to self quarantine because I don't know if I've been exposed. I don't know if I'll get sick. I don't know if I'm going to be asymptomatic. That's been over a couple of weeks ago. But she called me during this time frame. I said, first of all, you're not coming here because of what we've been told already. Number one, I don't know if I have this, and I'm not trying to pass it on to somebody else. Number two, I'm in self quarantine, and I don't want it if you have it because you're over the road going to all sorts of places. So we will see each other. Either preferably we both get through it and we'll see each other after this is all said and done and it's safe to do so. Because people aren't taking it seriously. When God comes, you need to take that seriously too. And I'm paralleling these two stories for a reason. We're going to have some tough decisions. We're not going back for people. Don't go back for things. And sometimes the folks that you're involved with, if they don't have enough self love to A, take care of themselves, and B, not give it to you, then don't open the front door. The death angels passing by. They've made their choices to be out in the foolishness, then that's on them. God bless them. I'm sorry for it. I don't know why you can't click and get it in order. But right now, I'm trying to go home to Jesus when the rapture comes. Looking back and turning into the pillar of salt and being tied to people and things, y'all better wake up in some wisdom. Incorporate that over on this side and understand if they're knocking at your door at a time when you don't know who they've been exposed to, something invisible that you can't see that can enter your house, disrupt it, kill you, kill your children, kill your family, all because you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings or because, oh, well, we've always done this. You're not taking it serious. This is serious. We have to walk in better wisdom. Now, I'm not saying you can't come out, get out your house. They told us we can, we got a distance. But we also don't want to introduce stuff into our homes if we can avoid it. Is it 100%? No, but you do the best you can. You follow the guidelines given to you. We really have to weigh out the choices we make. And I know not all of us are good at choices. We have to be careful at what happens. Don't have non-essential people because you basically are opening yourself up to possibly getting this virus. Don't go and do non-essential things. You're opening yourself up to getting this virus. So when Bobby Joe, who used to be the ex-husband, comes to the door with granddaddy, they can't come in because now you've risked yourself and now you didn't even know. One took a petri dish plane all the way over here, got here, he shouldn't have been traveled 70 some years old to see his son. Neither one of y'all are taking it serious. What should have happened is daddy know you need to stay where you at and we got technology, me and you work that out and I'll see you and say hello. And we all can get on different computers and talk to the boys. That shows me self-love, but it also shows me love for your fellow man, even down to your children. The opposite shows me self-centeredness, and I'm going to do it the way I want to do it. Narcissism. Ignorance is to get you dead. It's not bliss. I did a thing on that before. Ignorance can get you dead. Wake up, people. Walk in wisdom. Make better choices. Understand we have to be succinct in our thought process. We can no longer sit here and be in naivety. 70% of my ethnicity is dying from this. And I believe we're dying because of this kind of mentality. A, we're not investigating how to handle it. B, we're so caught up in this is how I live, that's all we care about. We're caught up in trivial things. I won't even talk about how morally out of order the African American, some of us are, well, quite a few in the African American community are, how far as a people of faith we've gotten away from it, and how much we are influenced by other folks and their drama and letting it come into our home. It's not to be mean. You can say in love, I love you, but you can't come, which is what I had to tell a friend of mine. I was like, look, I got love for you, good people, but you're not coming here during this hour right now based on what I've been told. And you should also not be going anywhere and vice versa. Be careful who you let in and out your house. We need to reevaluate what we truly is important to us. And we can't let the trivial drama of family drama, friend drama come in during this hour. We're going to have to stand firm on some ground. And maybe this whole event is happening. I believe it's happening for multiple reasons, but maybe this is another reason. Talks about choices and talks about really understanding what you truly love. Riddle me this, and I'm going to close this out. How many of you, if you get left behind here and you have one more opportunity to make it in, and Left Behind, for those of you who don't know, is Rapture. I haven't watched the movie, but you should be reading the Bible. How many of you, if you get left behind, you, your children, a boyfriend, a mama, a daddy, a brother, a friend, somebody you care for, y'all are here. And the viciousness of the leadership at that time is going to be somebody who says, oh, I'm going to take your child over here who wasn't raptured, and I'm going to cut their hands off. How many of you are so tied and so weak, and I know it's hard for what I'm about to say, that that child has not accepted Christ, your friend hasn't accepted Christ, that you're going to take a chip that's going to take you to hell? How many of you will give up, will sit there and go through all sorts of stuff behind other folk who wouldn't do it for you? I'm just saying. Some might not. And you're going to take a number, as we call it, a chip, a number, however you want to look at it. It's going to take you into the very pits of hell. You see, when your faith is right, it's going to be hard. And the abuses for those left behind is going to be something else. But we need to know what we truly love. And we need to know what we truly believe. It ain't going to be easy. But we need to make some hard choices. And hard choices, if you can't make them, sometimes being nice will get you dead. We need to take this thing serious, y'all. Very serious. And we need to understand people entering in and out your house and going to help family and so-and-so's crying, they're going to cry. It's unfortunate they're going to be upset when somebody dies. You being there is not going to stop that. But what you do need to use is wisdom in your home and not put your home, rephrase, your relationship at risk behind other people and people who may not be where you at. Because if they were, they would think that way and they would be protective of you and not ask you to do something that would risk your household. If the rapture happened tomorrow, how many of y'all gonna try to run and find a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a family member, a son, a child, a daughter, a mama, and then get left behind because you chose to try to go back for people or things? I challenge y'all to really think about that. And when you think of that tough decision to say, you know what, I'm going to follow God, and unfortunately, these other people had their opportunity and didn't take it. Have mercy on their soul, but I'm got to go. I'm with you, Daddy. I'm with you, Lord. You need to think like that in this hour. How many people, I wonder, when Moses gave the command and told him that the Lord said, mark the blood on the doorpost, take your butt in your house and close the door and stay there. How many people, I wonder, just walked around, didn't take it serious? Oh, let's talk about Noah. Should we talk about Noah? How many people didn't take it serious and thought he was a nut? And yet we have etchings in our mountains to show that this world was flooded and the amount of people that died during that. And God had to recreate the planet from that one family. Wake up, people. Wake up. This life ain't always easy, and it doesn't mean you hate somebody. It just means you're going to walk in wisdom for your household. Take this very seriously, what's going on. 70% of African Americans dying from COVID is a very large number when we're such a small minority group here in America. Look at it, it's staggering. And it's because we don't take things serious, we're not investigating it, and we're opening our door to stuff we shouldn't be opening our door to. I'm paralleling this because I want you to think hard. I'm getting ready to take myself to sleep. You guys have a blessed night. Not sure who's watching, but thank you. 2 and 2 means peace and peace. Be blessed.